Hi everybody, welcome to Talking Teal Season 6, Episode 6. I'm Liron Cohen.
I'm Mimi Torchin.
And we're Lady Parts TV. And that's our annoying neighbor, if you can hear him.
He's so horrible.
We hate him, and he makes a lot of noise. So we apologize in advance. We hope you can hear it as loudly as we can hear it. But if you are hearing a hum in the background, there's nothing we can do about it. It's probably going to go on for hours. We apologize in advance.
And when sweat starts to pour down my face, it's because we had to close the doors.
Yes, we had to close almost everything. Anyway, hi everybody.
Hi.
First of all, I want to say this episode is dedicated to Eva. What I did was
Eva.
we did one of the perks in the people who contributed to making this a full season. People who actually gave enough to fund a whole episode get an episode dedicated to them, and there are several people who gave enough to fund a whole episode and then some. And so in the next few episodes, every episode will be dedicated to one of them. So Eva, thank you so much for everything you do all the time.
All the time. All year round.
All year round. Your support is really, really, really means a lot to us.
Yes, thank you.
And also a big thank you this week to Leah Purcell, who gave us one of our favorite
interviews.
Yeah, it was just, she's a gem.
What an amazing, remarkable woman she is.
I mean, we wanted to talk to her primarily because she was on Wentworth, but once we started doing the research, we were blown away.
Yes, we just couldn't wait to hear the gems of wisdom that would tumble out of her mouth, and they did.
And I'm so happy to say, several of you thanked us for the interview, and I just want to quote Lily, because to me this comment is the best compliment that we could get for this interview. Thank you for the wonderful interview with Leah Purcell. I loved Rita since her first scene in Wentworth, and now I can say that I totally fell in love with Leah Purcell. What an amazing and inspiring person. And that is what we really wanted to happen. We wanted to take this woman who you only knew as this very, this part on Wentworth. We wanted to show you just how phenomenal she was. Hopefully now you're going to look her up and see other things that she's done. And hopefully now that she's globally known, we'll be able to get our hands more on more of her things, and she'll be able to.
Yeah, there are some of you who might have known because she's a big theater person.
Well, Australians,
she's a writer,
yes,
right.
But I think globally.
Right, I had never heard of her.
Yeah.
I'd seen her in. Well, the only thing I think I'd seen her in was Lantana.
Yeah, and she had a small role in it. So.
Yes.
Also, this is we're really at the home stretch, and we are making a difference. Please keep putting pressure on Foxtel. Focus your energies on Foxtel. There are still ongoing negotiations. I know we all got the same tweet from them. It's the same company line, party line, I mean. But it is still an ongoing negotiation, so keep putting the pressure on now more than ever. You know that you've seen all the actors pack up their bags and leave, so we want to grab them before they go on to other jobs. And we want to make this happen, okay?
Yes.
We're talking about the cancellation rumor, yeah.
Yes, and I just want to apologize in advance. We have a yard full of fledglings.
Very distracting.
Very distracting. They're so good. Oh, there's a squirrel.
Now the last thing before we go into the actual episode is next week we're having our personal podcast with Rachel. So keep an eye out for on social media, and if you're not yet subscribed, go to our website, ladypartstv.com. Go scroll all the way down and subscribe to our mailing list. So when things like that happen, you get noticed, you get notified, and we're going to have a personal podcast because episode 7 is supposed to be big. Something big is supposed to happen, and Rachel knew in advance that that's when she wanted to do her personal podcast. If you want to do a personal podcast or a vlog with us, we still have half the season to go, and I mean generally about anything, but especially Talking Teal, we have half the season to go. So go right now and buy our own personal perk, okay? So,
shall we begin?
Yeah. Now I have to say we loved this episode, but
we love every episode this season.
Yeah, but this season especially, I felt that it had a lot. We'll break down everything that it had, but I felt that it had humor, it had family, it had sadness.
Reminded me of the old Wentworth.
Yeah, exactly. It was really old-fashioned, old-school Wentworth. But some of you are having a hard time both getting involved with the new actors and new characters. Some of you are kind of tired of or upset by some of the plot lines. So we'll talk about it all, but generally I have the feeling that we loved it more than you did. So let's talk about what we loved and what you didn't love about it. So first of all, it was called Angel of Wentworth.
Angel of Wentworth, indeed.
written by Andrew Anastasios and Marcia Gardner. So again, all the episodes were
Hard
written
hitters.
by, yep.
The heavy hitters.
Now, it was also directed, like last episode, obviously, by Roger Hodgman, which some of you told me, I didn't know, that he was Pamela Rave's husband.
That's
So
very
that's a cool little
exciting.
fact. So, and Kathy wrote and said,
Did Leah mention that?
no.
No? Okay.
Kathy wrote and said that Angel of Wentworth, this episode was full of angels, none of whom was Sonia, by the way. But it's true, I think, and I think that's a very good observation, that I think one of the reasons that we loved it so much was because there was so
a
much
lot of heart.
Yeah, there was a lot of humanity, a lot of people coming together to help other
Help each
people.
other. Mm-hmm.
So definitely Angels of Wentworth, but not Sonia.
Never Sonia, the angel of death. There you go.
So let's start with Boomer.
Booms.
I think this is the first time we've ever started with Boomer because mostly she is relegated to either comic relief or physical brawn or some sort of a side character. And this but we all love her.
And Katrina is so special, isn't she?
She is.
She's
phenomenal.
such a wonderful actress, and she plays. I mean, you don't even think of Boomer as being played by an actress. Just think of
She's
Boomer
Boomer.
as being Boomer.
Yeah.
That's how fine the performance is.
It is, and then you see her in real life, and you all of a sudden, oh wow, she's completely different,
Completely
obviously.
different.
But finally, after many, many years of seeing Boomer around and not getting a lot of, if at all, of her backstory, we're finding out new things about her. And there are things that both explain her character better and her relationships with other people better, and hopefully will propel more storyline for her.
I hope so.
So first of all, Diana wrote to us a little bit about fetal alcohol syndrome, which is what it turns out Boomer has, and that it can cause damage to the frontal lobe of the brain, and then some of the symptoms can be less impulse control, more volatility, kind of a raging temper, and also oftentimes learning disabilities.
Which pretty much describes Boomer when she's
Exactly.
not just being sweet and funny.
Yeah, and one of the things that Diana pointed out was that people on social media seemed to expect. Why don't you read what Diana said exactly?
Oh, okay. There seems to be an expectation by some online fans that both Boomer and Liz would be removed from Wentworth if they were diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome or dementia. My reaction is, where would they go? Our jails are cluttered with inmates with various forms of brain damage. I can't see Boomer having her sentence reduced, and if Liz is developing dementia, the authorities would keep her in Wentworth as long as they possibly could before transferring her to an aged care facility if they did it all.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is also a problem in America, if some of you know, but it's in Australia it seemed to be a problem that they don't have enough facilities or the right facilities for people like this.
There aren't enough for people who aren't in prison, I don't think, let alone
who have enough facilities. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I was thinking in terms of Liz, and we'll talk about Liz a bit later, but I was thinking in America we have this concept of, isn't there like a mercy release?
Well, we saw that in Orange is the New Black,
Exactly,
and that
yeah.
was, of course,
Which was
not,
also terrible.
Yeah, awful.
Because they don't provide for them.
Yes.
They just live. Well, in that, I don't know that Orange is the New Black
is a good thing
yeah.
to use as any kind of an indication of anything.
But anyway, so Diana claims that there is realism to that they wouldn't have anywhere to go. So just answering some of your maybe.
Well, remember that Liz has family.
Yep, she
Liz
does.
does have,
her family doesn't want to have anything
yes,
to do with
but
it.
she has children who maybe ultimately,
They
if
never come
she
to visit
needed
her.
help, would care for her.
Maybe. Anyway, we'll find out. We know she's in season 7, so she's still around. So also what we find out about Boomer, that she has been abused by her mother physically and emotionally, and that can explain her low self-esteem. And it just makes a lot more sense. And Lauren pointed out something so smart that I did not think about at all, that it also explains her relationship with Liz.
So, Lauren says, now that we know about Boomer's alcoholic mother, it makes sense why she was not willing to forgive Liz for lagging. Apart from Liz causing her to get 7 more years inside, she also sees Liz as her own mother, an alcoholic bitch who deserves what she gets. I've always struggled to really understand this harshness in Boomer toward Liz, when for much of the time now, Boomer and Liz have shared a cell block, and also Liz has been like a mother to her And to all of these women, right, mother hen to those women, caring about them all. Now it makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, when Ruby and Boomer were talking about it, and she said, "So your mother was an alcoholic," and Boomer said, "Yeah, like Liz." And I thought, oh, that's interesting that she's throwing this in. And Lauren picked up exactly on what the writers wanted us to understand, because when Sonia throws her out into the group, and Liz gets ambushed by all these women, Boomer says it serves her right. And I thought, oh my God, that is so
cold,
harsh.
so harsh.
Yeah. So it does explain a lot. She does see probably a lot of her that reminds her of her mother, and it has a lot of.
She
emotion.
relives the betrayal over and over and over again because she loved Liz.
She exactly, but I think she projects a lot of her emotions towards her mother on Liz, and this is again Wentworth at its best. When they throw in one line and some of us pick up on it, some of us don't, and then we have to share the information to really get the full picture. And this is why I love talking Teal, because I feel like we're all like sharing our observations and we're getting the full picture for it. No, Lily said that hopefully now that Boomer has passed the test and understands that it's not her fault, the problems that she has are not her fault, then maybe now she'll be more confident.
I think it lifts a lot of weight off her shoulders, psychologically and even physically, just to know that, as Ruby said, it's not your fault.
Yeah, that she doesn't have to feel so terrible about herself and hate herself for something that she has no control over. And I love what Rachel said, that now that she's passed her test in her own right, not because she cheated, that is really a boost to her confidence. Which is that's why it's really great that they got the wrong test.
Yep.
And speaking of the wrong test, there were some excellent family and comic relief moments in this episode. First of all,
when Allie dropped to the ground, that was one of the funniest moments. Who knew that Kate Jenko could do such
Kate is very funny, I think.
Very good physical comedy.
You know, physical comedy at the end of the day, it just makes me laugh more than anything else.
It's just so silly, and I always think I have such a sophisticated sense of humor, but physical comedy just slays me.
It was so unexpected, just a drop out of the frame.
Yeah.
It was great. And also the fact that they... And also the fact that they would go to so much trouble and then end up stealing the wrong test.
And I love that they just laughed their asses off.
Dickheads.
They thought that was hilarious.
And of course, then the study group in the middle of the night with Liz, Allie, and Ruby prepping Boomer, which reminded all of us. Yes, of course. She's always there. Always there for them. Which reminded a lot of us, of course, of how last season, was it? Or the season before that? That Doreen, Allie, and Frankie, Allie, and Liz prepped Doreen for her parole hearing all night, which was very, very... And I think that they were...
Sort of like a college dorm.
And I love that they obviously wanted us to think about that. They wanted this scene to remind us of the old scene, because to me that was, yay, we have a new family, and the new family works.
Exactly.
It works for us anyway. I mean, you know, at some point you have to, when you have a show that goes on for a long time, you have to let go of certain characters and you welcome new characters in.
And this is part of the old family, part of the new family. So it's an integration, and I really like that.
Yeah, and all you can hope is that the new characters will blend in, and in this case, so far, all the new characters that we've seen really, really work well.
I really like the additions this year. I really, really do, especially Mari and Rita.
And Ruby now.
Ruby too, absolutely.
As we said, both of us, when we were watching that, they were so smart to make this relationship with Boomer, because this is where we love her most. When
humanizes her.
And also she sympathizes with her for her own, struggles with her brain injury.
I worry about Ruby.
What do you worry about?
I worry about her future.
You do? Well, actually,
I'm just making note of that right now.
I'm gonna actually, I will actually have it marked here to give you plenty of.
Oh.
Yeah, I want you to talk about that, but in a second, because is this, do we have fog again? Oh my God.
No, we can't possibly have fog.
I think we have fog again. Well, if we do, I'm sorry.
I think it's just bright sun. I think the sun is so bright that it's just washing us out, especially me with my gray hair and white, ridiculous skin.
I want to say what Kathy said about Boomer and Ruby. Boomer has always been seen as a protector because of her size and strength, but she's also very vulnerable because, let's face it, she doesn't always do the right thing, and she is easily manipulated. She needs someone like Ruby looking out for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that because Ruby maybe doesn't seem as strong, but she's very strong physically.
Mm-hmm. And she's, even with her brain injuries, highly intelligent.
Highly intelligent and emotionally intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that relationship is really good for Boomer. Another relationship that I think is getting stronger is Boomer and Kaz. We see that both, yes, Kaz has an ulterior motive when she comes in to talk to her after the Sonia thing,
Mm-hmm.
but still, Kaz is always genuine, even if she is trying to get
cares
something.
about the women no matter what.
And later, when she goes into the bathroom to be with Will, and she tells Boomer to watch the door, I think we're seeing the beginning, the seeds of a new enforcer. Oh yeah. But again, this is, I think, good for Boomer to have these two new alliances with people who genuinely care and who are genuinely human beings, not psychopaths. That's good for Boomer.
I wish we
We
had,
definitely
speaking
have
of
fun.
alliances, I wish we'd had some mention of Maxine and
Never.
what her fate was. She just was...
I think there was something ugly going on
Yep.
there. I think that the fact that she was ejected from the show so quickly and without
And
a
we
proper
never heard
goodbye.
another word.
No, I think there was something that wasn't nice going down there. So that's Boomer. And now let's go to Boomer's former partner, Sonia.
Sonia.
So Sonia.
Sonia. Sonia is the devil, not an angel. She is a real psychopath.
But she's a funny one.
Yeah, she is, but she's getting less funny to me.
And you know what? Everybody hates her. All your responses this week, all of the emails that we got are like, okay, this is it. Now I hate her. Now I just hate her.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because of what she's doing to Liz. But before we go there, so we're hoping that whatever happens to her, Boomer will take over the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she says to Boomer that she'll take over the workshop because she's getting out, but is she going to get out or is she going to die? Now, some of you said that in the poll that I put up of who's going to die, that you would have put Sonia up. Oh my God, look at that. We're completely fogged over.
But I don't see it.
It's because I opened that other door.
Please leave it open. Just think of us as being soft focused. I'm sure I look much better in the fog.
No, you don't. So many of you think that she's gonna die. You don't think she will. You definitely don't think she's gonna be released. But some of you think that she's gonna die. Some of you want her to be
released.
But the thing is, didn't we establish last week? Didn't we say somebody told me that they saw a post on Instagram or something with Sonia in season 7? I haven't seen it, but somebody said maybe it was wrong information.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I don't mind having Sonia back, but I want her back in her place. I don't want her to be reigning over her reign of terror, not the same way Joan did, in her own little quiet, sneaky way.
Well, I think that besides Liz, she really is kind of not interfering with anybody else. And even though she killed Gilmore, she killed her thinking it was Liz. So
yes, but she still killed her.
No, I know, but I think that once they resolve this Liz situation, that she could possibly have another storyline that would be more interesting or less.
Yes, because she's very funny, and but she's not quite as funny now that you know really how bad she is.
Well, so let's talk for a second about the poll, though, that I posted. So some of you think it was Sonia. It's going to be Sonia, even though she wasn't an option because somebody told me that she's supposedly in season 7. The poll results are, at number 1, you think it's going to be Kaz. However, I've seen her post things about wrapping season 7 and flying back home, so it's obviously not Kaz.
I don't think it's
At
Kaz.
second spot was Ferguson. You don't believe she's dead yet, and you think she's going to be dead this time. Third, third place, Juice and Jake tied. Now, I saw pictures of Bernard Curry also from the set of season 7, so it's not Jake.
We've already lost Juice once. I mean, what's the point?
I didn't even expect her to be back.
Why bring her back at all if you're going to get rid of her again?
And then the final one, number 5, is Ruby.
That's my choice.
Tell us why. Not choice, but that's your vote, right?
No, she's not my choice. Certainly not. I think because of her problems. I think because of her temper. I think because of her instability. I think because of the boxing. And I know Leah said that there was a lot of very emotional stuff to come. for Rita, and she didn't give us any hints whatsoever. But I'm extrapolating from that something's going to happen to Ruby.
It makes sense that if she's going to have a lot of really, really heavy stuff
Mhm.
happening emotionally, that it will have to do with Ruby.
Yes, I think so. Otherwise, oh my God, you can hardly see us.
That's what I'm saying.
No, please don't close the door.
All right, I'm so sorry for this fog. There's really nothing we can do about it.
We
tried
stopped,
everything.
we waited, we opened doors, we turned on air conditioning, we
closed
closed doors.
Yeah, there's really nothing we can do about it. We just have to wait until it goes over, blows
We
over.
live near water.
And maybe still be trying to tell us something. All right, so back to our discussion. Now, so many of you hate Sonia enough now that you're ready for a few things to happen. One, everybody really wants the plot with Liz to just be over. That's your main reason for hating Sonia, and I don't blame you. And then you wanted to either be sentenced for life or die. So
Harsh.
I know, right? About the Liz, the people being upset about Sonia and Liz.
So Denise says, I can't figure out why Sonia did what she did. First off, this whole thing started as a plot to spring Sonia out of prison and get the charges dropped. It was her and Don that made all of this happen. I'm not really sure why she's pissed off at Liz. Am I missing something? Don is actually the one who called the police anonymously to tell them where the body of her husband was. It wasn't Liz. So why take all of it out on Liz? I think Sonia is far more nuts than we all thought. She's showing serious psychotic behavior. Poor Liz was set up, and now the prison knows she was witness X. However, I think it's all about to change when everyone finds out Sonia herself killed Spike's girlfriend.
So here's what I have to say about that. First of all, yes, I think Sonia is nuts.
We pretty much always thought Sonia was nuts, but it is more obvious.
When Kaz tells Will about Sonia killing Gilmore, he says, "Why would you do that?" She says, "Because he's a psycho." And I think that's pretty much sums it up. But I think that when it comes to Liz, even though she wanted her to play that role in her plot, she still betrayed her. She still betrayed her, and she didn't have to. And I think
because Liz didn't know that she was being set up.
Right. So that's one thing. And secondly, now she needs her as a key to supposedly to her defense. Now that they found Dawn, and now that Liz is showing signs of mentally being, incompetent, then that could work in other ways for her. But she really needed her to serve her point now, and so she's upset with her when she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing.
It's not her fault.
No. But that's
what was interesting, by the way, in that for a moment when Liz broke down and told her, "I'm losing my mind," she looked like she had some compassion for her.
I didn't read that as compassion. I read that as surprise.
Surprise, yeah. But then so I thought, oh, okay, and then she takes her out to the yard to be attacked.
As opposed to Ferguson, where we used to wonder if she really is feeling something, if she's not feeling something, if she's showing emotion or playing as if we were always confused about that. With Sonia, I have no doubt that there's no emotion.
No feeling. No, we've said that. I said that from the beginning, that nothing she says is ever real.
No, and her character was always there to kind of amuse and entertain, so yes. I took her as she was. So now both Kaz and Vera are onto her and are trying to prove that what she's done. And Kaz wants the girls to try her like they tried Ferguson, where they ended up hanging her. And Sarah says that...
well, Liz warned her about that.
No, Kaz did.
You sure?
Yes, Kaz warned her about it. Now, Sarah says that it makes a lot of sense for Kaz to want to have a trial because that's what she does. It's a democracy, blah, blah, blah. But now, should we expect, and actually Sarah is wary about it, should we expect Vera to come to the rescue again like she came to rescue Ferguson, which a lot of people were not happy about at the time? We'll see what happens with Sonia.
No, but it would have caused so many complications if they'd allowed her to die that way in the prison.
Now, in the preview, we see that Sonia wants Boomer to protect her. But I think by now Boomer is much more aligned with Kaz than she is with Sonia. So I think...
I think she feels a complete betrayal by Sonia. I think she thinks that Sonia threw her to the wolves.
Well, and especially I think now that she's getting closer with Kaz, because it's Kaz who's going to be going up against Sonia, I think that she will align with Kaz more than with Sonia. That last
Maybe Ruby will save Kaz
Ruby will save Kaz from what?
from some Sonia machination.
Well, from the preview, though previews are always misleading. From the preview, it seems like tiny little Sonia is just running around trying to hide. It doesn't seem like, because Sonia, with the exception of the fact that she buys people
Just
off,
money, exactly. That goes a long way.
but that's pretty much the only power that she has. Her connections outside, though, are, I don't think that they're
Tenuous at this point.
well,
yeah.
and I don't think that they're anybody who would be, could, like put a hit on somebody.
Like
or something.
Ferguson.
Right.
Ferguson had real connections.
Right, she just has connections in terms of money and influence, I
Mhm.
think. So I don't think that if it comes to the point where she actually has physical danger, I don't think there's anything she can do besides getting somebody bigger, paying somebody else to protect her. That last shot of her with her finger in her mouth after Kaz tells her, to prepare for, you could be out in 2 days or dead in one.
Dead in one.
That was a great shot. This is those moments where I wonder, what is she really thinking and feeling? Did she manage to get some fear happening inside her? I think she did.
Is it close to lunchtime?
She's not a cat. And Rachel said, because she puts her finger in her mouth and then the shot kind of zooms out and then we see something, whoosh, kind of something happening on the screen. And Rachel is asking if it's the ghost of Ferguson passing by the cell.
If it's a ghost, I can live with that. I can live.
Just kidding.
Very good. I can live with a ghost of Ferguson as long as we know for sure it's a friggin' that people are not a real ghost, of course,
Yeah,
but it's manifestation in their minds, Will's mind.
Yes, no, I want to actually emphasize, not a real ghost.
Not a real ghost. No.
I don't know if it's an oxymoron, a real ghost, but
well,
we
don't know that.
Right, but we don't want it to appear as an actual ghost that we're supposed to believe is a ghost. We're
Like
figments
Reva
of
did
people's
once.
imagination.
In Guiding Light. No, if she comes back as Will's, worst nightmare, literally. But if she's not dead, I'm gonna just be. My head's going to explode.
It'll be interesting to see what happens here next Sunday on Talking Teal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now about Liz. So first of all, she actually speaks the words, I think I have dementia, which makes me wonder maybe it's not dementia because, in Wentworth they try to put you down one path and then they turn and they show you, wait, no, you were actually on a different path. So I'm wondering if the fact that she actually said it.
It's a brain tumor.
Or again, it could,
mini
I guess,
strokes.
still be a stress-related.
Right, it could be mini strokes because of her alcoholism.
The thing is, and many of you said that, if it is dementia, it's going to be horrible. We know she's
be horrible, but usually it's a little slower than this.
She seems
This
to be
is
progressing
moving
quickly
pretty
because of the
rapidly.
stress. She's under an insane amount of stress. And we know she's in season 7, at least from the person who told me, if it's valid information. And if they are taking her down that road, it's going to be heartbreaking.
Horrible.
And I think we were
because nobody does heartbreaking like Celia. Nobody.
And I think we were all ready at this point after the few seasons that Liz had, which were, have been very bad and very tough on her. We were all ready for her to have something more positive happen. Oh, I think the fog is finally lifting. So I am hoping that it's not really dementia, just because of what it would mean.
Because there's no turning back if it's dementia, if it's something else.
Downhill from here. Rachel says, though, and it kind of goes back to what Diana was saying, but we don't really know. Rachel said that if it really were dementia, she would be shipped off to somewhere else, so it can't be, there has to be a different explanation. So if we go back to what Diana said, not necessarily, obviously. So I still don't think that is definitely a sign that it's not dementia. Now I have to take a moment and acknowledge the fact that we completely didn't feel this way. But a lot of you did, apparently, including Denise. I didn't even give it much credence until Denise said that she felt that way. I didn't actually think that it was a trend.
What are you talking about?
The fact that people were so angry and upset to see Bridget's office without Bridget in it. It's like it's a sacred location. You were expecting them to turn it into a shrine.
It wasn't like my friend who washed her baby's bottle out with the water at Lourdes. People were pretty mad at her. Susan did that. That I can see people being upset about. But to use Bridget's office, exactly what were they going to do? Enshrine it? No.
Those chartreuse chairs, though. But I mean, really, it's an office.
Funny.
Bridget is not there anymore. She hasn't been there for a while, so there's no reason for that. And at least they used it for a therapeutic.
Exactly. They kept it in the spirit of Bridget.
I think Bridget would have approved. So anyway, Liz goes and has the test done, and Lily wants to tell us all Lily's in the health profession, and that it's an actual test. We've recognized it too.
Right.
That screens for Alzheimer's and dementia. It's called the Mini Mental State Examination, sometimes abbreviated as MMS. Mini mental state of examination, I think we were all heartbroken. And as Diana said, Vera out there watching and kind of her face, it was all of us. It was all of us.
Exactly. Teacup, basketball, horse.
Yes, very good.
Yes, I've still got it.
I don't know if I remembered it, but I'm so happy you did. Perfect cock.
I'd forgotten that one.
How could you? That was brilliant.
Because the image.
I think it's very important to mention that she was up all night. She was up all night helping Boomer prepare for her test, and mental conditions like that, all mental conditions, but especially dementia and Alzheimer's, really exacerbate.
And you can blurt out just anything.
Yeah, but that was.
I remember saying to Leroy, "Did you just say perfect cock?"
And the sad thing is that normally I would have burst out laughing, but it just made me all the more sad for her. So it was a very very mixed feelings. But she didn't sleep all night, which I think is one of the reasons that she really was so confused, and that such a phrase could come out of her mouth on a radio show.
So funny.
Funny, but really, really, really sad.
But it's still funny. It's sad, but funny.
And then when she takes her to the yard and she's on the ground and begging, Celia Ireland.
Oh my God, she's so amazing.
If she doesn't win awards next year for this performance.
This is it. This is her year, please.
I mean, I know she's won before, but this is just out of this world.
A hawk.
Can you hear that? Is it coming for Liz? I hope not.
Liz can fight them off, our birdies can't.
It was very, very... I don't know why. I mean, I'm happy that they only did that, but I don't know why they only threw pieces of grass at her. They certainly have done way worse things.
Much worse, exactly. I mean, I'm very happy that that's all they did to her.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that they didn't mob her.
I know. And I was very happy that Kaz and Allie came to the rescue, and again, really warmed my heart. And I personally think, in this episode, to me, Kaz was the angel of Wentworth.
Yes. And Allie is also a dear, dear, dear character.
She is. She really is. And as Kathy said, many of them served as angels for other people, including with Boomer. Ruby, Allie, and Liz for Boomer. And then Kaz with Will, and with Boomer, and with Liz. And there were such beautiful moments. But to me, Kaz, in this episode... Tammy McIntosh, we love you.
We love you. You are so remarkable in every way.
And she really infuses Kaz with her beautiful soul.
And it's a delicate balance, you know.
Yeah.
She's the top dog. She has to be tough, but really and truly, she is a soft marshmallow inside.
She is, and there's so much so that you forget that she is capable of violence.
Violence, right.
But I also want to say, last week we were talking about that we had previously questioned whether or not somebody could fill the void being left by these big characters that have left. And we said Rita is definitely somebody who will fill that void.
I think so.
And I feel that Kaz is filling that void as well.
Completely. She already has, I think, in a very significant way.
Yeah. She does bring a lot of the heart and the soul and the brain. She's very smart.
Very smart.
And you know, yes, there is that problem that because she's so good, she also is a little less of an enforcer of her own rules,
right.
and that's a problem, and that's probably going to bring to her downfall.
And she does lag.
And she does lag proudly. Speaking of which, Kaz and Will. I thought it was a beautiful scene.
Oh yes,
in the bathroom.
absolutely. They have such a deep. They care for each other so much after what they went through,
With the
practically drowning.
van.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she will forever be grateful to him for saving her life.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few lines there that really, really got to me. First of all, when she walks in and Will says, "I said get out," and she said, "It's just me."
It's just me.
It's such a beautiful moment because it's separating her from the rest of them and saying, I'm your person.
Your friend.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm your person.
Yeah,
Right.
which is really beautiful. And then when she tells him that he did what he had to do so that she wouldn't have to do it.
Exactly.
Taking it even one step further, not just to protect the women, but to protect me so that I wouldn't have to be the killer. Which is, again, those choices of word that make all the difference.
The writing is so superb.
It is. And then she says, "You're the bravest man that I know." And we know how Cass feels about men. So...
Mm-hmm. Well, that sets a pretty low bar, then, though, doesn't it?
No, but
it wasn't.
Her,
yes,
for her to step
I'm just
out
making
of
a joke.
No, but a valid point. But for her to step out of this general, I hate men. Men are predators. Men are awful people, and to really finally find a man who is truly good, must be such a an amazing feeling
and a revelation.
Yes,
that can be such a thing.
And especially for somebody, we know that she's straight,
mm-hmm.
So I think she's definitely developing romantic feelings for him. And I know some of you are not seeing it. I personally would love to see. I definitely see the chemistry,
mm-hmm.
and I see the beauty in the relationship,
mm-hmm.
and I think they're good for each other. Sarah says that it makes sense that he would confide in Kaz as opposed to Vera because he's feeling much more connected to Kaz now.
Sure, and Vera's still his boss.
She's his boss, and also it's easier for him to relate to another criminal
mm-hmm.
now that he feels like he's a murderer, but also the fact that Kaz can condone what he did. I don't think Vera ever could. Like when she tells him...
although she did send... No.
She just has a complete different value system, and I think there are some lines you just don't cross. If she were okay with that, she would have let the girls just have that one more minute to hang Ferguson
mm-hmm.
and finish the job.
It would have reflected very poorly upon her, though.
She could have pretended that she couldn't get there or something, or she couldn't get it down or something or other. No, I think she didn't even act thinking about what it would look like.
Just her instincts as a human being.
Now, Will has historically had a weakness for drugs, and unfortunately, we see it. If not now, when? I mean, Mari was right. She sees despair. She sees him tormented. Now, Mary sees Kaz and Will together, and that is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
That is really bad because she will use it against Kaz. Because all the girls...
And she'll use it against Will.
Yes, but so she'll use it against Kaz because all the women are already thinking of her in terms of the screw lover, which is not a good path to go. We saw what happened with B. And then she'll use it against him, and we already saw the seeds of that when he catches her with the drugs, and she tells him about how it helps her with the despair, and the nights are so hard.
And he thought, you could see it. You could see him thinking, maybe this will do it. Because he asked her, he said, "Really? Does it really help?" I mean, it was like, don't go there, Will, please.
Because Sarah was like, "Oh, is she now going to use it to get him to smuggle drugs for her?" And I was like, No. She's going to get him hooked on drugs. That's what she's good at, remember? Which is really bad. I think he's really headed down that path.
Yeah, I'm very worried.
Yeah. Again, Denise reminds us that Mary is really, really a bad person. She says that she's the biggest threat in Wentworth right now, and she's even worse than Ferguson was. She's going to be worse than Ferguson was.
I don't see that.
We'll
see.
I
just don't see it because as bad as Mary is, Mary does have, I think, some feelings.
So we think, but who knows?
Maybe she might be another psychopath.
She might be a really good actress. Now that Will is also on Mari's target, that gives Kaz another person to fight over with. So she and Mari now have Allie and Will as people that they both are vying for and trying to get influence on. Now, Rachel said some people were wondering why Kaz would tip her hand
right.
to Sonia like that and alert her to the fact that the women are going to have to try her and possibly kill her.
Mm-hmm.
So Rachel has an explanation.
Yeah, she says,
and a crazy theory.
Right.
Well, not so
Many
crazy.
would ask why Kaz was stupid enough to tip her hand. Easy. She doesn't like to harm the women, so she needs to scare Sonia into protection so she's not put in the position of having to get justice for Spike. It's exactly that quality that will end Kaz's reign as top dog. The next episode will not only see the end of Sonia, it will also see the end of Kaz as the top dog. Mary is about to take up those reins as top dog. I knew that the moment she breezed past Boomer to walk into the bathroom. She is a natural and would use the position to her own advantage. She is used to She's used to using the carrot as well as the stick to get what she wants. She has no problems using either one. Mary will team up with Sonia to dethrone Kaz. Sonia lived in H1 when Kaz set up B, and she was privy to the details of that plot. The trial of Sonia will be turned back on Kaz. Mary has the added ammunition of seeing Kaz comforting Will, and she will use that to take over. Remember, everybody is guilty of something, and I think Kaz's sins are about to be revealed to everyone.
Okay.
That's very
interesting theory.
Very
Rachel is always
very dense and well thought out. Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel is oftentimes on to so her theories are oftentimes on the mark. So we'll see. Now another thing that in the end of that scene, with Kaz and Sonia, Kaz tells her, "Remember Ferguson." Now we can also we can say, well, of course she's thinking about a trial. She's trying to warn.
No. I think foreshadowing, unfortunately,
setting up the return of Ferguson. So
I fear. I have doubt. I have doubt.
Yeah. So we'll see. Okay. Ooh, a triangle. Mari, Rita, and Drago. What a triangle. So,
yikes.
First of all, Sarah laughs and says, so up until now we didn't know Rita was on the cover, and all of a sudden now that we know she's undercover, now she's all of a sudden getting sloppy and getting caught in things. But she didn't have Drago sniffing around before, and now she is, and she's everywhere, and she's especially suspicious.
She's everywhere. Maybe she's a twin.
Does somebody, by the way, know Serbian? I really want to know what she was, what the words she was throwing at her was.
We need Google Translator.
I don't even know.
No,
I'm sure we must have some Serbians out there, right?
Help!
So, Lauren says that she thinks even though it seemed like they patched things up and she gave her the phone in the end, that she's still suspicious of her, and that Drago is a lot more loyal, as she mentioned, and she probably trusts her more.
She's part of her operation.
However, she also said a little bit of Drago goes a long way, and I think that she knows just how crazy she is, and she's useful to her, and she needs. Rachel was talking about how Mari, much like most of the big criminal bosses, she doesn't get her hands dirty. You know, when she starts telling her about the finger that they cut off that guy, she's like, spare me the details. She doesn't want to see. She doesn't want to know. But she's happy giving it, letting some other people do it for her.
Dirty work.
And Drago is obviously that person for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she is useful to her, and she needs her craziness for that purpose. But at the same time, I think she knows to be wary of her and careful of her. Whereas Rita is a very sensible, kind of grounded person, so she could use them for different purposes.
Right.
Now, Lauren also points out that Mary tells Drago to tell Lucas to find the rat. And she's wondering if Lucas is that protector that the detectives were talking about, that she has somebody big on the outside protecting her. It could be, or it could just be some mid-level person. Exactly. Now, let's talk for a second about the phone. I hope at some point somebody wiped it by
now. I'd forgotten about it. Stop. I can never look at a cell phone the same way.
Oh, I think you'll do fine. So many of you were wondering, how did Ray know what to say when they called? And she said that they had been arguing about his ex, and Mari asks him, puts him on the spot, and he answers the same.
I wonder if they have some kind of a code between them.
Right, so that's what I was thinking.
he'd have to know she was undercover, which he
No.
doesn't.
No.
That she might need protection about something.
But don't forget, they're not a regular couple. They're gangsters. They're bikers, right?
Yeah, but
I mean,
it was
are they
interesting.
gangsters or just bikers? Anyway, they're part of a group that probably does have to have some of these things established in case one of them gets in trouble.
Or maybe it's something that they have argued about before, and that's why she picked it, because she knew that's what he'd say.
So that's exactly what Lily said, that maybe, and if that's the case, that shows that they were a real couple.
Yes, that she really cares. She really does care about him, and I think she's almost said as much.
Right, so we've seen two different pieces of proof for
because
that.
Because the cops questioned her.
So the cops were like, hey, why is Ray getting so close to you? They obviously don't like it because they see that it's crossing the line.
Puts her in a vulnerable position.
And because it's obviously, they're seeing that she's getting emotionally involved rather than just doing her job.
Which always happens when you're undercover, by the way.
At least on television. And the second thing is, Leah told us in the interview that was something that was, she liked that story, that she cares about him. And by the way, that poll that I ran trying to figure out if Rita was more, what you thought, if she was more interested in the ladies or the gents, you called it she's straight. And she actually does have emotions and feelings for Ray, which leads me to wonder, how will that come into play?
It'll be interesting. And the thing about Ray that I noticed was that he does seem to have some...
He's a good sweet
kind
man.
of softy
I mean, he was willing to throw himself on the sword to get her out.
Yes, exactly.
So he definitely loves her. But I'm wondering also when you said that Leah said that she has some really emotional stuff coming on, if he will be a weakness, if he will be something that will be used against her, or so because they definitely wouldn't have done it just because there's more to it.
There'll be more to it.
So Drago
or Zara,
when she grabs Ruby in the crotch, and Rachel wonders if that was a little. A little reference to Trump.
To Trump, maybe. Grab him on the pussy.
Yeah.
And they just let you.
Yeah, obviously, because you're so charming and handsome. Anyway, so she grabs her because Ruby had kissed her, but just to get the drugs in. So she thinks that...
Well, that wasn't a real kiss.
No, of course not.
That was transferring
of
a balloon.
But that's what Zara throws at her. You didn't mind before, and she says, before I got paid. But this is a bad foreshadowing of something that's going to happen between the two of them, and Rachel has something to say about
she says, we also discover in this episode that Zara is a less comic version of Juice. I just snorted.
Try a no comic version
exactly.
of Juice.
Not even the tiniest
Nothing
bit
funny
of
about
sense
her.
of humor. No. Everyone in the prison knows that Juice is a sexual predator, and most of the girls keep half an eye on her when she's stalking a new victim.
Even without a tongue.
Which renders her totally...
No. There are many different other body parts you can use.
Stop. Zara is cold, quiet, and dangerous. We've known that Juice was more than capable of raping anyone she could get her paws on. We have never been led to believe that Juice would fight to the death. I don't think we have any doubt that Zara would happily dispatch her prey when she was done with her. Zara is the more malevolent Juice that will prove to be her undoing. I do believe it will be Ruby who takes this monster out. She will be defending herself, but Rita will take the blame. Interesting.
Well, we saw Rita already tell her that, seeing what she was doing to her, and kind of getting in there and telling her to stay away from her. Which, by the way, I really like the fact that Rita never had a problem with her sister obviously being a lesbian. She never had. I mean, I don't know if she knew that from before, or if it's a new discovery since she got to prison. I'm assuming Ruby is a lesbian, right?
I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I love that it was never an issue. Well, all of the signs point to the fact that she's interested in women, and certainly in Allie.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I like the fact that there was never a problem for Rita. But I do think that this another triangle, Ruby, Drago, and Rita, it's going to be problematic.
Well, it'll be a different kind of a triangle.
Well, yes, but
it'll be Rita trying to keep Ruby from killing Zara, or Zara from killing Ruby.
For attacking Ruby or preying on her. So yes, but between the Mari Drago Rita and Rita Drago Ruby, it's a mess. And Rachel is also saying that...
And Rita's the one who's
going to be in the middle,
danger,
right in the middle of it. And Rachel says that she wonders how long she'll be able to keep her cover while protecting Ruby. Mm-hmm. Because at some point, it's probably going to be... there's going to be a climax where she's going to have to be put in the position to help Ruby somehow.
I think that it'll be more that they'll find out they're sisters. That they'll find out she's undercover.
I think that at some point she'll either have to protect Ruby from actually physically from somebody killing her or attacking her, and she might end up hurting somebody else to protect her, or that Ruby will do something and she will take the blame on herself. I think that will probably be how she... I don't know if it will blow her cover, but she'll definitely be in Wentworth as a criminal rather than as an undercover cop. Well, I think that's how she's... Well, who knows? Rachel also provided us with an answer to a question that we asked last week. Thank you. We asked if there's any kind of mitigating circumstances for undercover cops who commit crimes while they're undercover. So she says, while it is perfectly acceptable to break the law to maintain an undercover assignment, murder is a line that can't be crossed. Officers can use drugs, sell drugs, even have sexual relationships to work their way in and maintain their cover. They cannot actively participate in a violent felony. Circumstances are taken into account, but there are many undercover officers that found themselves prosecuted for crossing those lines. But my question is, what about self-defense?
Self-defense, exactly.
Yeah. What if you have to kill somebody because the undercover position put you in danger.
Or protecting someone else. I mean...
yeah. So... still unclear, but let's not forget this is a drama.
That's
and as Leah said, they tell fibs, but they tell good fibs. So let's talk about Ruby and Allie for a second. Lauren says that when Ruby asks Allie if there's still something going on between her and Mallory, and Allie says it's ancient history, and Ruby says good, that she thinks that shows that she is interested in her romantically, but she doesn't think that Allie is. She thinks Allie is more interested in her as a friend. But they do have really great friendship chemistry.
Yes, they have fabulous. Really I love friendship chemistry as long as you keep it a friendship.
Yeah, and we think that, yes, especially since Denise said that there is somebody who was labeled as
love interest for Allie.
And most of you, I don't know, see, we don't read spoilers. We don't like spoilers of any kind. We don't read spoilers. No. Many of you come up with these crazy theories, and then I find out that some of them were spoilers that you built on, so that they don't seem actually that crazy. And many of you this week said that now that Barbie Nurse has been fired, the new nurse could possibly be Allie's new love interest, which I am liking.
I like that idea.
I mean, I don't know who the nurse is going to be. I don't know who the actress, what chemistry they're going to have. But I like the idea of, again, I mean, I can't tell
it's someone older because that's what she likes.
That's what she likes.
That's
what we like. And I can't tell a lie. I really like it when it's somebody from one side of the bars and somebody from the other person is from the other side of the bar. It excites me. What can I say? Now, also, Lauren is pointing out that now the Barbie nurse is gone, Jake will have one less person to facilitate some of his manipulations and things.
Although he was helping Will.
Yes, but Barbie Nurse has in previous times helped him in many ways. And let's face it, Barbie Nurse was there to facilitate things to happen.
That's all Barbie Nurse was there for.
She was a plot device, much like Smiles, much like, other people in the past. Like she was the one who enabled Ferguson to cut Lucy's tongue out. And I really hope that the new nurse that they bring
has a little bit more scruples.
I hope she has more substance. I hope she's going to have an actual story. I hope she's not going to just be there to facilitate things. I don't like characters that are just there to facilitate things.
No, me neither.
Now let's talk about Vera for a second. Lauren says that obviously we didn't see anything in this episode about her pregnancy. We're meant to believe that that's done.
Terminated.
Right?
The end.
But she says she just can't believe that they would, first of all, get rid of such a good storyline so quickly and wrap it up so quickly. And that they intentionally mentioned the second pill just for no reason. She thinks that it's not that it actually isn't over, and that we are going to see more about Vera's pregnancy, that she is actually still pregnant, and that it's going to come back.
Well, I would think it would be a waste of a story if that was it.
Yeah, it did seem like it was too much of a big story to be
They
to be
dispatched
done.
with it with great rapidity.
Especially because when they were talking about her terminating the pregnancy, I didn't think about a pill. I thought about an actual abortion.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
it was early enough.
Right, but again, it's not like they had to do it because they were running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
The window of her actually terminating the pregnancy, they could have gone for the other options. They could have been done later in the pregnancy. So I think you're right, Lauren.
We'll see. I hope so.
So now, episode 7 is coming up. The preview makes it seem like Sonia is in the middle. She has a big bullseye on her back.
Seems wild.
But we also know from various people who have talked about it that episode 7 is going to have something really big happening in it. We are past the halfway point now. A lot of big things are going to happen. Things are going to escalate.
And we also know that previews are often misleading.
Yes,
purposely so.
But the thing about the big thing happening in episode 7, that was, I think, a reporter who had watched the screener ahead of time and just said, like, oh my God.
No, but I'm talking about all the Sonia stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that Sonia that's going to be the central thing. But in the preview, they make her seem like she's like this little damsel in distress running around. It's not going to be that easy. So I ran a little poll on Instagram to ask if you guys thought that episode 7 that Ferguson is going to come back. And I didn't say in any capacity, in what capacity is going to be, dead, alive, ghost, nightmare, whatever. I just said, is she going to appear in episode 7? And you were pretty much split down the middle. It was kind of like a 55-45%. More tipping towards no, actually, than yes. But you had several theories of if she does come back, how is she going to come back? So as a ghost or the haunting people. Possibly this will be the episode where they find her body.
That would be fun.
That could be
that would be very interesting because someone will have done it. So you don't bury yourself alive. It doesn't happen accidentally.
Yeah.
So especially inside a coffin.
Yeah. So
you could get caught in a sinkhole, but not inside a coffin.
So that, unless you're a vampire, right?
Unless you're a vampire.
So that could be another good way to bring her back without actually bringing her back. And then somebody said she's alive, roaming the streets of Melbourne with amnesia. Somebody's been watching a lot of soap operas. that old story.
Amnesia, I remember it well.
Very funny. So either way, whatever happens, we'll be here. We'll be here to help and to talk things out with all your wahs. And also don't forget that after the episode, I think we're doing it on Wednesday, so hopefully it will be up, the personal podcast with Rachel. Hopefully it will be up by Wednesday. If not, then definitely by Thursday. But I want you all to listen so that then you can actually incorporate that into your emails if you like to respond to our conversation with Rachel about episode 7.
Right.
Which would be great to add another dimension to our conversation next week. So, and if you want your own personal podcast or vlog, don't forget, go here and get your perk. And
is our Emmy podcast up?
Yeah. Well, the first one was up last week, and the second one was up. Yep. So
just letting you know.
Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you so much. As always, we couldn't do it without you, and we do it for you.
And I hope by now you understand why we love this episode, and maybe you're a little convinced a little more that you should love it a little more too. Anyway, and now it's funny because we're talking about how every single episode in the season has been a knockout, and let's see if they bring Ferguson and wreck the whole thing.
It will break my heart.
Let's
hope it's not going to happen.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We hope to see you next week, and also to listen to the podcast midweek.
Okay.
Bye.